shifts, Mercury moves into Aries, emboldening us to ask for what we want. And Venus moves into Pisces, asking us to dream a new reality. The combination of this celestial dance calls for evolutionary change, asking us to level up. So know there are two distinct types of change. Change we initiate based on personal choice and change imposed upon us. Personal change is usually looked forward to. Imposed change is unwanted, resisted, and judged. With all change, a positive attitude is needed to embrace the gifts of change. Whether we own it or not, change is something we choose consciously or unconsciously. And by understanding the universal principle, we are co-creator of our reality. We can remove our resistance and face change proactively. The key is knowing when we resist change on any level, we slow the process of evolution. So let's all move forward today in our Mindful Monday meditation to unapologetically accept infinite possibilities, being co-creator of change in our lives. So pause for a moment and take a big breath. Hold in that breath and bring your thoughts here and now. Now exhale with purpose, opening your heart and mind to change that already exists within you. Now inhale, taking this moment to be here and now, one with your breath, one with the power of self, ready to embrace change. Now exhale, open to the awareness of infinite possibility. Let yourself be open to the infinite possibility of change. Now inhale, breathing in strength to embrace change with grace and ease. Now exhale, ready to change your mind, to change your life. Now take a big breath and hold that breath and pause for a moment, opening your heart to your purpose, opening your mind, ready to receive change. Relax, exhale, taking this moment to be here now, one with your breath and the power of self-love. So just relax, just breathe, and be here now. Inhaling your power of self-love. And as you exhale, call on your angels and the power of the Most High to aid with surrendering any fear you have of change. Now inhale, commit to leveling up to your greatness. Breathe in your greatness, your truth, your wisdom. Now exhale, make a promise acknowledging every moment, every single moment opens positive change with infinite possibilities, unfolding your highest good from seen and unseen places. Bring that in. Now inhale, integrating the wisdom of change. Bring that all in, that infinite possibility can unfold your highest good from seen and unseen places. Now exhale, honoring our Mindful Monday affirmation. Relax, just breathe, centering yourself, grounding yourself. Now take the biggest breath you've had all morning. Hold in that breath. Breathe in your light, your power. And as you exhale, exhale with love and compassion, and listen to our Mindful Monday affirmation for the week. Centering yourself, grounding yourself, letting your breath be normal. And our Mindful Monday affirmation for the week is, today I level up to change, honoring my wholeness, open to infinite possibilities. Relax and breathe and listen. Today I level up to change, honoring my wholeness, open to infinite possibilities. Think about that. Opening yourself to change and infinite possibilities. Now take a breath, center and ground yourself, and mindfully give yourself permission to trust every moment offers positive change with infinite possibilities. And know that you have the power to embrace change by changing your mind and changing your life. So I thank you, Dominique, to have a smiling Miles in the 1580 KBLA family. Have an unapologetically, mindfully blessed week, leveling up to change, open to infinite possibilities.
What a great way to start our week, Saharah Ali, leveling up to infinite possibilities. If you would like to find out what's going on with Saharah, go to saharahali.com. Do we have another event coming up, Saharah?
For sure, we do have a sound bath at Yoga House on March 23rd, 6 to 7:30. Be there on time. And also I'm having private gatherings at my office. Just call Elise for details if you want to come and have a meditation or experience a mini sound healing treatment.
Oh man, I love those sound healing treatments. I was probably the biggest skeptic, even though I'm really into new age technology. But then when you think about it, everything is vibration. Sound is vibration. Why wouldn't it? Why wouldn't it help heal you? Elise's number is 213-628-9783, 213-628-9783. I was actually talking to somebody who has Parkinson's, and he was telling me how one of the cutting edge cures that they're doing at Stanford is this vibrational pattern that they're transmitting through the fingertips to reset the brain so that Parkinson's disease patterns are interrupted, and people are getting really great results with that. And it just made me think of you, Saharah. This is some, study right now. The technology won't be available to the general public for another 2 or 3 years, but it's using vibration to interrupt brain patterns that are causing pathologies in the body. And I just thought, wow, isn't that sort of like a high-tech version of sound healing?
Yes, it is. And sound will be the new medicine. In some healing circles, it is very much respected because you think about energy, and we think about our bodies being energy, and we think about the effect of sound on our body. Like our favorite music, we'll start dancing, like drums, we'll start jumping. And so the healing vibration of indigenous instruments like brass singing bowls on the body vibrates the bones and moves all the energy in the body to create a balance. And so sound healing is the new medicine. I just really wish that our community could step outside of traditional programming and to be open to the reality of physician heal ourselves, and that we within ourselves have an intelligence to heal any and all things in our lives. And prayer is a part of that, but action with prayer is the gift, and sound healing is part of that message to help us take ownership of healing ourselves.
Well, I mean, I think that's one reason why I'm really urging folks to try a sound bath or try a sound healing session with Saharah, because once you try it, you don't need anyone to tell you anything, because you can feel it. You can feel it in your body. You feel better. And, we all know that. I mean, if you can do something that makes you feel better without having to have a hangover, that's always a good thing, right? And I think our body tells us the story that overrides a lot of other narratives. But I just thought that was fascinating. This is cutting edge technology at Stanford. It was on the Today Show, if you want to look it up. And they got deluged with people trying to get in because they were seeing such great results with people improving their gait and walking. When you get Parkinson's, there's a lot of, my mom had it, so I know there's a lot of degenerative damage that happens to the body rather quickly. And apparently by reprogramming the brain using this vibration, which is what sound is, they're getting these amazing results. So I just wanted to bring that up. And again, if you want to try it, you're going to call Elise. That's Saharah's assistant, 213-628-9783, 213-628-9783. Saharah Ali, thank you so much, and happy Monday.
Thank you.
All right, it's the perfect time to call me. We do have a lot to talk about. I don't know if you saw the dueling rally, speaking of horrible sounds and bad vibrations, the campaign rallies over the weekend, and so many other things that we can unpack and uncover. I'd love to hear your thoughts on them. 800-920-1580. If you want to chime in, I don't know if you watched the Oscars. I actually did this year. I've been watching things this year. What's up with that? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. My kid's at college. I got time. 800-920-1580. There's lots more news about the former president's legal troubles, good news for the economy. Cover that and more when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique Baraka when we come forward.
I spray and scrub, but the soap scum in my bathtub is still there.
I spray and scrub, but the burnt sauce on my stovetop sticks around.
Sprays can leave grime behind, but new Mr. Clean Ultra Foamy Magic Eraser combines the scrubbing power of an eraser with the cleaning power of Dawn to melt away tough messes on contact.
Just wet, squeeze, and erase.
Stop spraying, start erasing, and clean with more magic than ever with new Ultra Foamy Magic Eraser.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
I'm going out with the girls this weekend. Nails done, outfit stunner, and my skin, I know it's going to be glowing because I glammed up my shower routine with new Olay Indulgent Moisture Body Wash. It smells so luxurious and moisturizes deep into my skin with its super rich, creamy lather that's bursting with vitamin B3. So my skin glows and my confidence grows. Try new Olay Indulgent Moisture Body Wash for glowing skin in just 14 days.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months, and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today.
People who come to Cricket stay with Cricket, just like our customer Jaren.
I'm the singer and guitarist in a band, and I use my Cricket phone for everything. It's basically like another band member.
Don't miss a single beat. Switch today and get a free Samsung Galaxy A14 5G. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Real customer paid for testimonial. Must bring your number to Cricket on up to a $60 a month voice plan depending on device. Select models only while supplies last. First month service charge and tax due at sale. Cricket 5G requires a compatible device and is not available everywhere. Fees, terms, and restrictions apply. See store for details.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Gabby.
Hey, Gabby. It's Jennifer Coolidge. Hi. I'm so glad I reached you at 2 a.m.
Oh, of course. Anyone with a Discover card can call and talk to a real person 24/7. Now, how can I help?
Yeah, I used my Discover card to buy these yellow pleather pajamas, and I'm just not sure I'm pulling them off.
24/7 U.S.-based customer service. It pays to Discover. Limitations apply. Learn more at discover.com/credit card.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Attorney Joe Cordell.
Business owners and professionals face special challenges in divorce court. In addition to everything else going on, they have to contend with allegations that they are earning more than they are, coupled with claims on their business or practice itself. Clients with assets depend on their divorce lawyer's skills in these matters, and that's why it's so important to hire someone that has those skills.
1455 Frazee Road, Suite 1050, San Diego, California, 92108. CordellCordell.com.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
Yes, it does. Happy Monday, and happy Monday to you in the chat as well. 800-920-1580. That's the number. You know that. If you want to say something, this is the time to do it. So the trying trials and tribulations of the former president are ongoing this week and quite interesting. I think I told you that I don't think I did. On Friday, the former president posted a bond for $91.6 million. That's in the E. Jean Carroll case. And it was kind of a trick move on the part of the president. He tried to get to not have to pay until after he finished his appeal, but that didn't work. The judge said no, so he was able to get an insurance company to put up this bond, and it's a way of keeping him from having to pay. It's like a stalling move. Trump had asked the judge to pause, and the judge said there will be no pause. So he posted this bond, and the reason it was 90-something million instead of 83 is because of interest. So all of these big fines and penalties that he who shall not be named, the former president, is racking up, they also come with interest. And that's not negotiable. That's, the courts don't play. If you've ever had a ticket or whatever, if it comes with interest or the fine, comes with penalties for non-payment, you're going to have to pay that. So what they did was they blocked E. Jean Carroll from getting her money until after the appeal by getting a bond. So, I guess he's a good businessman. He's good at shafting people out of their money. We could get a decision this week in the situation with Fani Willis because we're waiting on a judge in that particular case. Judge Scott McAfee has to decide whether DA Fani Willis will be disqualified because of her entanglement. I don't know if you can call it an entanglement. She's not married. He was getting divorced. But since she hired him and she was romantically involved with him, the judge will decide whether or not she's DQ'd from that case and what the implications are, that if he's going to disqualify her entire staff, which would basically be giving Trump a get out of jail free card, because a whole new team would have to come in and look through all of the evidence and all the work that Willis and her crew have put in, and that's going to take a long time. By then, it's possible that the Orange Menace could be reelected as president, in which case he would actually put a pause in that prosecution. And since he will probably refuse to ever leave office, he may have permanently dodged a bullet unless we don't elect him. Meanwhile, in New York, the case there, the Stormy Daniels hush money case, we'll find out this week whether that judge is going to put a gag order on the former president. Good luck with that. It doesn't work. In fact, Trump was back at it at his obnoxious weekend campaign rally, defaming E. Jean Carroll. I don't know if that's going to add to his debt, because she doesn't have another case pending unless she decided to sue him yet again. But apparently he didn't learn from that. And we'll also find out what's going to happen with that money that he's already been ruled he has to pay $450 million for that civil fraud. Remember, I know it's hard to keep up with all of it. For saying that his properties are worth more so he can get loans, and then saying they're worth less so he can pay less taxes. That's a $450 million fraud judgment against him and his company. And that also has interest. The interest on $450 million is serious business. I mean, you're talking $500 million here. He has until March 25th to finance that penalty. And the prosecutor, Letitia James, has made it abundantly clear she will go after his properties. So he's either going to have to get another bond of some kind or sell something off, or something or other. The rubber is meeting the road. The ish is meeting the fan for Mr. Trump, even as he talks all that smack. These prosecutors are not backing down at all. In fact, the case of the papers, the stolen top secret documents, we're going to have hearings this week because Trump's lawyers, his legal team is trying to get dismissals. And remember, the judge in this case, Eileen Cannon, this is in Florida, was appointed by Trump. She's relatively much of a rookie. And so she is going to have to decide when this trial will be held, which would probably, I imagine she's going to delay it as far as possible, just like the Supreme Court has done in offering him a big, giant favor. In New York, that hush money case, the jury is anonymous because the judge and the judge granted the prosecutor's request to keep the jury's names and address secret, which is a great idea anytime you're dealing with the former president, the 45th president, and his circle of enablers, right? Think about those poor election workers who were getting roughed up and threatened by Kanye's people and whoever else. Just being affiliated with any kind of prosecution of the former president is dangerous. And so I think it's important to protect the jury. We also saw that in the testimony of Fani Willis's dad when he spoke on how she had received death threats, and he had too, and racist vitriol, and how this case taking on the president and even the former attorney general who she was trying to bring on as a prosecutor in that case, instead of Nathan Wade, who declined to be hired because he didn't want the death threats. He didn't want that smoke. So yes, this is very, very important. And so, meanwhile, the Supreme Court has given him a pass on that immunity case by kicking the can down the road until late to mid-April, and even taking up the case, which means that we won't get results until probably June or July, which means that in theory, everything is on hold until we decide whether or not they decide whether or not the president is above the law. News, traffic, and sports, and more on KBLA Talk 1580.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Mike Moore. Now here's the latest from the Black Information Network. 4 adults and a child are dead after a small plane crashed in Virginia Sunday. The private jet crashed in the woods near Ingalls Field Airport in Hot Springs. The FAA and NTSB are investigating the cause of that crash. The U.S. Embassy is evacuating non-essential staff members from Haiti as gang violence grips the Caribbean nation. The U.S. Southern Command says American military forces are assisting the operation and helping provide security at the request of the State Department. Families of diplomats and others were reportedly being airlifted out of the capital city of Port-au-Prince to safety. A post on the embassy's website Sunday calls the current situation in Haiti unpredictable and dangerous. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Robert Half research indicates 9 out of 10 hiring managers are having difficulty hiring. Robert Half is here to help. Their recruiting professionals use proprietary AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. At Robert Half, they know talent. Visit roberthalf.com today.
Is this the title? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
A special day Sunday for the USC women's basketball program. The Trojans won the Pac-12 tournament championship for the first time since 2014. They also found out they can win a title game when freshman sensation Juju Watkins has a bad day. The nation's second leading scorer had only 9 points Sunday against Stanford. USC still won. The Trojans beat Stanford by 13 in Vegas. Guard Mackenzie Forbes stepped up with a game-high 26. USC should get a number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. The brackets will be announced next Sunday. The Lakers beat Minnesota by 11. Anthony Davis is the first player in NBA history to finish with 27 points, 25 rebounds, 7 steals, 5 assists, and 3 block shots. The Clippers lost to Milwaukee. They played without Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. George has a sore left knee. Kawhi is nursing a groin injury. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
JP Morgan Chase is building on the investments in California to help close the racial wealth gap and build a more equitable future. Visit jpmorganchase.com/racial equity and get the tools to help reach your financial goals.
If you're looking for the most epic place on Earth, let's start at the base of a massive waterfall. Then trek through the thick jungle. Then climb to the peak of a snowy mountaintop. Then once you get there, keep going. Because with intelligent 4x4 and 7 drive modes and a Nissan Pathfinder, the search is the real adventure.
Available feature. Intelligent 4x4 cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions.
Taco Bell just dropped the new Cravings Value Menu. Now you can get 10 items for $3 or less, which means you can get the food you want for the price you want. It's almost like you can have your cake and eat it too. But in this case, it's a double-stacked taco from the new Cravings Value Menu. So basically, you can have your double-stacked taco and eat it too, which is a lot crunchier than cake. The new Cravings Value Menu is here. Get it at Taco Bell today. At participating U.S. Taco Bell locations while supplies last. Contact store for price and participation which vary. Tax extra.
Jim was at the laundromat when he heard his ear said, "Maraca, senor," but his nose said, "Hey, freshest scent ever." Following his nose, Jim found a man pouring Gain scent beads into the washer. The scent, the freshness. Jim blurted, "Sir, your scent maracas smell amazing." You could call them scent maracas, but most noses call them Gain scent beads. Try Gain scent beads. Way fresher than detergent alone.
Planning for spring at Lowe's means big savings on outdoor power equipment, and Lowe's knows nothing feels better than free. Buy one select Ego string trimmer, leaf blower, or mower kit. Get one select 56-volt battery free. That's up to a $299 value. Power through spring with Ego, the #1 rated brand in cordless outdoor power. Because Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 4/3 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Find a righteous rage and don't be afraid to say what you see. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
Yes, indeed, we are. Kwamel says he thinks people want to elect Trump because they want to see him not leave office and trigger an overthrow of the standard U.S. government. The GOP must want that, too. I agree with that because it's highly unlikely that he will just voluntarily leave office, especially if that means going to jail. I mean, he didn't want to leave it already. He said he'll be a dictator from day one. I at first was tempted to think that he was joking and he was kidding, but no. He's not kidding. He already is a dictator. He's functioning like a dictator. He compliments and, cozies up to dictators. So no, he wasn't kidding. And the likelihood that he'll try to stay in office forever, which is kind of like one of the defining factors for authoritarianism, is very high. And so I think if you elect that guy, and by the way, possibly even if you don't elect that guy, he may never ever leave office again. That's part of what they mean when they say our democracy is at stake. I don't think it's just sort of this theoretical drift towards fascism. I think we're talking about a lurch towards an authoritarian dictatorship. I think that's right. Ron Malone said the sad part about all that is you got crazy folks out here really trying to reelect this cat. Hashtag no Trump 2024. Absolutely. There are a lot of folks, and a lot of those folks have money. It's not just the rank and file misguided or lied to, very online or very naive Trump base. There are folks with a lot of money, people who want to support the system of white supremacy. And I am very saddened in a sort of, I guess I look at them as pretty pitiful in a way. But I think that there are some well-meaning, I do think there are a lot of grifters, but I think there are some well-meaning Black people who believe we will get a better deal under Trump. And they are deluding themselves because you're not looking at things in historical context. I mean, the fact that people can straight up say that Trump is better on immigration, which the American people do en masse believe, according to the polling, boggles my mind. All you have to do is look at the hiring practices at Mar-a-Lago. Trump refused to hire Black workers. When he did hire them, they were only allowed to go into the back. They were not allowed to be greeters or work in the front of the club. He actually used these special visas to import women from Ireland, i.e. white girls, to work at the front of his clubs, refusing to hire African Americans, Haitian Americans, or Latinos, and yet y'all have clinging to this Mark Carter-esque vision that says when Trump kicks out all the Latinos, Black people are suddenly not going to have to deal with white supremacy anymore. We're going to get paid the way we're supposed to. No, it didn't happen. It's never happened in the history of the United States of America, and I hope it does happen. But it's not going to magically happen because you close down the border. And, you know, it's not like the border's open right now, by the way. Try coming in here. See what happens. Paul Lee recommends everyone read Project 2025. And, I agree with that. But I do think I said in the chat, have some chamomile tea before you drink it because it's going to be very upsetting. Maybe I should have said heroin, although I know it's highly addictive and I actually have never tried it, so I can't really recommend it. But you may need something stronger than chamomile tea. Because basically, 2025, it's quite arresting because they lay out in no uncertain terms a plan to activate full-on fascism from day one should Trump be reelected. The reason they call it Project 2025 is because he'd be sworn in, I think, January 20th, 2025. And what they're saying is we have to have this whole army of far-right, fascist, white supremacist folks ready and in the pipeline so that we can make these changes on day one. Get rid of all the agencies that protect consumers and regulate things like the environment and business. And be ready for a full flip of democracy on day one. It is quite alarming. And I agree. You should read it. We should read it. I need to be reviewing it because it's so easy to think, well, first of all, I'm not on the team that's going to sit here and tell you, I love everything about Mr. Biden. But that said, a good reason to read this is because I think a lot of us are deluding ourselves that that there's no difference. They're both corporate parties. And I always talk about the practical, foundational stuff like Social Security. When you look at the fact that, go back to that brilliant LA Times article that breaks down what a high percentage of the unhoused are actually seniors who can't afford a place to live anymore because they're not working, right? They're on Social Security. And then there's an article over the weekend about how the Ojai City Hall, and if you're not from California, Ojai is this idyllic sort of new age small town paradise in the country, in the California hinterlands, which now is the grounds of their city hall taken over by an encampment, which is almost all seniors. Almost all people over 55, a huge number over 60, and some over 70 living in tents. So what is that? What happens then if you take away Social Security or even decrease it? And again, that's what I've focused on. That if you say there's no difference, it's because you're not relying on Social Security. It's because you're not a child who needs the child tax credit to keep your household from sinking into poverty and food insecurity. It's because you're not relying on the SNAP program, so it doesn't matter if Trump cuts it. If you have the luxury of saying there's no difference, it means you're not relying on the social safety net. And it means you don't care whether everybody can vote. It means that you probably think that you or your loved ones would not be in need of reproductive care, i.e., having to terminate a pregnancy for whatever reason. Then you have the luxury to say there's no difference. But this is more intense than that in a sense, because it really lays out, they're not keeping it secret. It is clear as day. What we are talking about here is an authoritarian fascist government. It's not hyperbole. They've laid it out. And this time you thought 45 was unhinged before, and he was. But this time you'll have a guy with absolutely nothing to lose, because guess what? He doesn't have to run for re-election. He'll either step down, highly unlikely, at the end of 4 years, or he'll just be president forever. And whatever that looks like. President, Führer, Emperor, HIIC. The I stands for idiot. I love that the estate of Sinead O'Connor asked Donald Trump to cease and desist from playing her music at campaign rallies because, and this is the reason they give, not my words, their words, they say that Sinead O'Connor considered the former president to be a biblical devil. And for that reason, she does not want him using "Nothing Compares to You" at his campaign events. Even though, you could take that literally, nothing does compare to DJT. But her estate and her record label demanding that Trump cease and desist from using her music immediately. Of course, we know Sinead O'Connor was an activist. She died last year. She was 56 years old. And she says she believed in honesty, fairness, kindness, and decency towards her fellow human beings. Their cease and desist goes on to say that Sinead O'Connor would have been disgusted, hurt, and insulted to have her work misrepresented by someone who she herself referred to as a biblical devil. Thought that might bring a smile to your face on a morning where there seems to be a plethora of very, very rough news. Perfect time to call me, 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. We're going to Paul from L.A. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning, Dominique. How you doing?
I'm blessed and highly favored. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. Just wanted to hop on the line with you for a second. We kind of discussed the topic you were discussing about Trump and everything. And
yes,
just
sir.
In general, I just think this is a big, and stop me if I go too far into this. I just think this is a big white backlash towards what happened with the George Floyd protests.
Yeah, I agree.
And a lot of that, that backlash this is the difference between a moment and a movement. They saw a lot of the younger generation and just people across the country that were marching for what this country has been built on, which is this anti-Black divisive agenda. And the crazy thing about it, Dominique, is they look at which was once the strength of this country. That's why who you vote for president or chief and commander matters so much. Because what he essentially did is he used his bully pit, his microphone, as a way to divide people. And what they saw during that movement was people coming together.
Right.
And they felt their privilege was threatened.
Yeah, I think that's right. So far you haven't gone too far for me. Not at all.
Well, thank you.
I think that's right. Here's the question, Paul. You mentioned the difference between a moment and a movement. And I think the movement continues. I mean, I'm part of it. We're at protests. We're continuing to educate each other. We're continuing to organize. But all of the mainstream media have pivoted away from it. There's not millions of people in the streets. Do you think there is a way to move past this division, though? Because I think Trump has made ugly, rude, mean, and divisive sort of normalized. Can we put that genie back in the bottle?
I just think that if you go back to, I'm not going to go too far into history, but if you go back to just the history of everything, it was the northern and the southern colonies and their ideals and what this country was essentially built on. And I think what happens is racism as a whole, when I say a moment compared to a movement, because what ends up happening is people end up voting based on their self-interest, which in turn is their privilege. And when that privilege, I feel, is threatened in their eyes, because, for example, a lot of this backlash has to do with you going from 90% plus of just white male CEOs in the highest position of the country down to 80%. And there's just this big outcry and backlash to it. So you hear the word woke, which was derived from our history of we could never sleep, and we can go a little deeper due to social injustices and everything, into a we can't have that. And then a prime example of that is the sister Claudine Gay at Harvard.
Yeah.
That had nothing to do with anti-Semitism, in my opinion. That had directly to do with a black woman in that position of power at that school. And that was sending a message. And who fueled it was white men.
Very wealthy white men.
And that's why Trump is just the face of it.
Yeah.
And I can't make people read it. I just advise people to pay attention, because he's not the one. There are enablers around him that's using him as the face to essentially, the Viktor Orbán's in Hungary, and the Vladimir Putin,
who was at Mar-a-Lago last week.
Exactly.
My head is exploding.
Not even covering that.
Right. That's crazy to me. You're going to have a fascist dictator just kicking it at your Florida resort. If you think he was joking about being a dictator on day one, then you should have definitely clocked that.
And you know what's interesting about that, Dominique, is the Dobbs decision. And I tell people a lot of times, some people think that voting is just every 4 years for presidential. I always tell people your local and state elections are just as important, if not more, because who you put in positions when money is allotted. For example, you were speaking earlier in regards to people think they can just up and leave, for example, California, and then they end up going to some of the most restrictive voter suppression states throughout the country. So what happens is, for example, the Biden administration may send funds to your state, but you'll end up a situation like in Mississippi, where they weren't allocating those funds towards those communities that were predominantly black.
Right. And that's part of the talking point about, Democratic-controlled cities are a mess. Yeah, because y'all oftentimes control the state coffers and the funds don't get to the cities. Yeah, a lot of great points, Paul. Paul called me at 800-920-1580. You can, too. You're listening to Unapologetically Progressive, KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
LADWP is proud to partner with KBLA to share with you how to start the new year without bill worries. We're here to help if you're behind on your bill or need help staying current. Sign up anytime online for Level Pay to set predictable monthly payments throughout the year, including for past due amounts. You can also check out the special extended pay arrangements of up to 48 months to help pay down your bill. If you're a senior or income qualified, you may be eligible for Easy Save to receive discounts and also qualify for free and discounted energy and water saving devices. You can get up to $15,000 for past due water and or sewer bills, and up to $3,000 for electric bills. But you gotta act fast. Funding is limited. You can reduce your past due bills and kick off the year right, because here at LADWP, we're here to help. Visit ladwp.com/cares today and find out more.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Hey, I have a secret. I use Secret Whole Body Deodorant because more than just my armpits stink.
Oh, can I use it where my bra rubs under my...
Oh, yeah.
And what about down there? You know, my...
Totally. 4 out of 5 gynecologists would recommend it. So I tried it, and now I get 72 hours of freshness. From my pits to my...
Ooh, I love that it's a spray.
Me too. And it comes in sticks and creams too. Go get your Secret Whole Body Deodorant.
I can't believe tax season is here already. Look at all this info I have to enter.
Phil's small accounting firm is growing in numbers.
Why didn't I take that typing class in high school?
A data entry specialist could really help him in a crunch.
I got blisters on my fingers!
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
We're not for everybody, but we're for everybody. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
You are, and I'm looking forward to talking with Dominique Baraka. She's a poet and author, an activist, and my bonus mom. We're going to be talking about heroes of women's history. Should I say Black heroes of women's history? Let's go to Dwight, straight out of Compton. Good morning.
Good morning, Dominique, and shout out to you, Miles. Tavis, thank you for such a great radio station, and happy Women's Month. You guys are the queens that birthed the world, so I thank all the women out there, all the queens, thanking you for your love and your support. I just want to agree with you on a lot of the things you said, Dominique. These Republicans these are African Americans that are supporting Trump are like the slaves that want to go back to the plantation because it's hard out here being free. Yeah, it's hard out here being free, but I don't want to go back to the plantation. I mean, they're almost like a vaccination. You know, they put a little black face or give you some good little points for white supremacy. That's all it is. They're just a vaccination so it won't be so hard on us accepting white supremacy racism. Because, Dominique, when you get vaccinated, they give you a little bit of the actual virus. So when the virus attacks your body is already used to it. And that's all these black faces that are white supremacy supporting Donald Trump are. They're just a vaccination to white supremacy, and they don't even realize they're a vaccination. Every time we see, you see how the response to President Biden's speech was. She brought up a point that was back during Bush's term about this woman being raped by traffickers across the border. And then we tried to pass a bill to solve the border problem with in Mexico, get more judges to get the people through in 6 months as opposed to waiting years. And what did the Republicans do? They blocked it because Donald Trump wants to use it as a talking point and a campaign point against President Biden.
And it's a point that's working. Oh, by the way, Dwight, did you see that the woman that this woman, Senator Katie Britt, who was clowned on Saturday Night Live, that she was talking about, her name is Carla Jacinto Romero. She said that basically the woman was lying, like that her story was distorted.
Bogus.
Right.
Yeah. I'm sure you asked me a while back if Trump gave us the reparations, would I vote for him? I said, no, I would never vote for a lying Republican because I would take my reparations, but I will never vote for a lying Republican. The things that the Democrats has done for black people, it don't have a black name on it, but protecting Social Security, voting rights, health care, through Obamacare, raising the minimum wage, ended the college loan debt, passing the child tax credit to fill poor black kids. It was some poor white kids getting fed too. It might not have our name on it, Dominique, but it definitely helps black people. And black people, wake up. We need to never, never, never support Donald Trump and get all of them out there so Democrats can run the House of Representatives, the Senate, and have the presidency so we can get some of these things done. Like I always say down here, we're trying to put out a fire, and the Republicans are turning off the water at the hydrant. Then run on the news, oh, the Democrats ain't putting out the fire. Why? Because you turn the water off, Republicans. And Dominique, thank you so much for everything that you do and all the information you're giving us on our voting information. And thank KBLA, the greatest radio station in the world. Thank you, Dominique, for everything you guys are doing there.
All right. Thank you, Dwight. I love that. That'll be our new nickname from Dwight, the greatest radio station in the world. Let's go to Fred calling us from Los Angeles. Good morning, Fred.
Hello, Dominique. Just two things. E. Jean Carroll.
Oh, it's good, Fred.
Yeah. And number one, I was watching her on TV. She was being interviewed, and she told her friend that she'd be taking her friend shopping today with Donald Trump's money.
Yes.
But I guess that's not going to happen. But, you know.
It will, eventually.
I was listening to you. I've been listening to you a long time, like
Thank
I said. And I was listening to you last year. And there were two men that got out of jail for rape. One did 27 years, and he turned out to be crazy, drove him crazy. And the other one did 39. And for some strange reason, he showed no remorse. But anyway, they were found innocent through DNA. Now, they've been telling the people, the world, for 39 years they didn't do it. The other one, 27 years. Don't their rape victims owe them $91 million?
They would have to sue, but that's not what the case was. The case was defamation. Otherwise, it would have been a criminal case. The case was defamation, that he talked smack about E. Jean Carroll. That's why he owes her $91 million. The state is going to probably end up compensating those guys. That's usually what happens because they're wrongfully jailed. So it's not the women that owe the money, it's the state, the prosecutors.
I got that. I got all of that. But didn't the rape victims defame those men, and they've been convicted in felony?
I would need to see the details.
They were innocent.
I would need
to
to
pay their rape victims $91 million.
No, because defamation means that you publicly make false statements about someone. And you do that in a way that undermines their ability to function. And you're talking about a trial. When we'd have to know, did those rape victims testify? Did they identify the victims? Was it what was the evidence there? And so it's apples and oranges. I see what you're trying to do there, Fred, but I think it's apples and oranges. Could a rape victim defame a person that was mistakenly convicted? Yeah, I guess it's possible. But more than likely, what happened was overzealous prosecutors, which is usually what happens when black men are falsely convicted, twist arms and use fake informants to get the results they want so they can pad their resumes. We're talking Black Women's History Month. Call me again soon, Fred. Good Fred. It's KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Mike Moore. Now here's the latest from the Black Information Network. 4 adults and a child are dead after a small plane crashed in Virginia Sunday. The private jet crashed in the woods near Ingalls Field Airport in Hot Springs. The FAA and NTSB are investigating the cause of that crash. The U.S. Embassy is evacuating non-essential staff members from Haiti as gang violence grips the Caribbean nation. The U.S. Southern Command says American military